Welcome to the DeFi Standard, and I'm Mickey B. Fresh. So today, in episode 3, we're going to really dive into the FAssets. And now we know there's a couple that have been announced so far. So I just want to name those. So we have FXRP, we're going to have FLTC, and FDOGE. Those are the 3 so far as of this date that have been announced. Once the network goes live, it'll be a governance function of how it's decided on what the next FAssets are. But leading up to that, we could see others. So I just want everyone to be aware of that. The real big one that I'm looking to see is FBTC. So let's move over here. I made another diagram, and this one is for the FAssets. And it's basically all the utility that's going to be possible with these FAssets. They're created through a trustless gateway. And that the FAsset protocol is what allows these to come over in a trustless manner. So they could be redeemed in trustless where it's not going to fail, no matter what. So now let's go into what some of the utility of these FAssets are and how it differs a little from the Spark token. So it has some similarities, but also some key differences to keep in mind. Now, just like the Spark token, the FAsset, which like FXRP, comes with an FTSO vote. Now, you would delegate this vote in the same way you would with your Spark token, except this vote does not come with any rewards. But with that said, signal providers can compensate you for delegating your vote because it does help with their voting power towards the FTSO. Okay, now moving on to the use cases for the FAsset. And the biggest one, this isn't even really a use case, it's just for holding the FAsset and minting it. You're going to be rewarded daily with Spark tokens. So these are going to be rewarded every day. They're going to be distributed, basically almost airdropped into your wallet. So where does this, it's going to be rewarded in Spark tokens. Now, where does this come from? Now, this comes from a general FAsset rewards pool. And now this is made up of the Spark tokens that didn't go to Ripple, didn't go to the founders, didn't go to the scam wallets. That made up around roughly 7 billion Spark. Then the foundation donated another 5 billion to that out of their initial 30 billion that they had. So that gives us around 12 billion. But now, the unclaimed Spark from the snapshot will go into this rewards pool. Initially, it was stated that those tokens would be burned, but instead they're going to go into this rewards pool for us to earn. And I think this is a great move by them, and this really is going to add to the demand of keeping the FAssets on the Flare network. So now you're going to be earning daily rewards just for minting. So now, once again, trustlessly and at no risk, you're going to be able to earn with your FXRP or your FLTC. Now, right now, there's currently 20 billion unclaimed Spark, roughly. So they have till, I think it's June 11th to claim. So all those by then that are unclaimed are going to go into this rewards pool. Now, it is a key, there is one thing here that needs to be stated. Litecoin is going to have its own rewards pool. As the second asset to come over, they'll have their own dedicated 5 billion Spark, which is separate from the general rewards pool. Now, that 5 billion was also donated from the foundation. And now that will be paid out the same way, the same percentage of Spark tokens. And it will be dependent on what the Spark value is to the FAsset, and it will be paid out accordingly. And then it will depend on how many people mint the FAssets. And in the beginning is going to be the most profitable for everybody who mints these FAssets, because there's going to be less FAssets to reward to. So it's going to, as more people mint FAssets, then it will have to be spread around more and more. And now this will be distributed in a percentage. So it'll continuously go for a long time, and governance will manage the distribution of it. But as the Spark value goes up, the percentage is going to stay the same, but in dollar value, you'll be receiving a much higher amount as Spark goes up in price. So especially in the early days, it's going to be the most advantageous for everyone to participate. And now this could all be done completely at no risk. Now, we have yet to see the Flare wallet to see how you would actually be able to delegate your vote to a signal provider and how you would actually get these rewards. So once that's announced, we'll have more information and we will absolutely be covering that. All right, so now we're going to move over to the actual use cases for the Spark, for the FAsset, which is FXRP. Now, one of the major use cases that's stated in the white paper and also has been stated multiple times in the blogs and also by Flare CEO himself in numerous interviews, which is using the FAssets as collateral to mint a stablecoin. Now, this is a Spark dependent application. So it would have to go through a governance vote if it was after the network goes live for this to be rolled out and implemented, or if it's prior to the network going live, it could just be implemented. So we don't know if it's going to be before or it's going to be after, but we know it's coming. So this is really going to be one of the biggest use cases. And this is, if you remember David Schwartz's stablecoin proposal, it's very similar to that, the way it's laid out. So you would take your FAsset, put it in a collateral deposition, and then it would mint you a stablecoin. And another one of the most amazing things out of this is that stablecoin could now come back on to the XRP Ledger and trade on the XRP Ledger's decentralized exchange. And what that allows is now you have another trustless decentralized asset for XRP to trade against. Because right now on the XRP Ledger DEX, everything except XRP is an IOU. So you would have to trust that entity, that gateway. Once a decentralized stablecoin comes over, it changes everything because now you could have two assets that could trade against each other in a decentralized way that everyone on the ledger could use. Now, this stablecoin could obviously also be used on the Flare network. Now you would have the fiat unit of account, but with the collateral will be these FAssets. Now, without going into too many details, because we don't know them yet, collateral depositions, typically you have to over-collateralize it, and then you get a stablecoin. But we don't have the details yet, so we're not going to go into that. But this is something to really keep our eyes on, and it allows the FAssets to really have a use case, and it allows them to stay on the Flare network, because as you put this into a collateral deposition, you're still simultaneously going to be able to earn the daily Spark rewards. And now you're going to be earning, locking it up, and now you have another stable coin to use that you could then earn more on top of. So you see this is becoming a pattern with everything that they've built here. It's the token engineering. So one thing to another, incentivize and influence the behavior of the network. And this is going to bring more value onto the network from the native FAssets. So they're going to have less and less reason to go back to their native blockchains, especially when you don't have smart contracts. You don't have the ability to earn yield. So unlike if you were holding LTC or you were holding FLTC, one's going to give you yield, one's going to give you not yield. So that's more likely to stay on here. And now as you have a use case for these that's going to mint a stablecoin decentralized way, it's a very big value proposition. Now, that's just one use case. Now, there's also going to be the whole Flare Finance ecosystem, which has 6 products they're going to roll out and 3 different tokens. And now the FAssets are going to be able to be used in all of those DeFi protocols, or at least most of them, especially in Flare X, which is the decentralized exchange to swap between assets, the Flare Farm, where you put your token in and you'll earn yield and you'll mine one of the Flare Finance tokens like YFIN, and other use cases that develop around there. Now, there will be additional use cases for these FAssets built on Flare. Because remember, these are just the beginning applications that we're seeing. So we're going to see a whole DeFi ecosystem born over there from Flare Finance. And now other applications are going to come and be built tailored to using these FAssets, since now they have smart contracts with them. So you're unlocking all that value of the XRP holders, the Litecoin holders, the Doge holders, and then you're going to see FBTC come in. All that value is going to drive the application development, and we're going to see more and more and more come on. And then built on top of that too, to eventually connect to the traditional markets. I'm Mickey B. Fresh, and I'm out.